What's up, goats? It's Raj Nation, your host here. This week on the Goat to Market show, we've got a special bonus episode for you. It's actually my appearance when I was interviewed on my friend Devin Reed's show, the Read Between the Lines podcast. Now, this I'm sharing with you because this is probably the best interview I have ever done. It's my favorite conversation I've ever had on any type of recording ever. And Devin is such a good host. His show is incredible. We recorded this in person. He flew out from California and we recorded this on a massive basketball court overlooking the Chicago skyline. So the visuals on this are quite nice. And if you don't want to listen through this stream, I actually recommend you use the YouTube link that's in this episode description where you can actually watch the podcast. And there's, again, the visuals are just amazing. The cutscenes and everything, the camera work, the production is top notch. This episode overall was really a conversation about creativity and taking risks and placing bets on yourself. Again, Devin was great as a host in asking all the right questions and digging deep. And we had such a healthy conversation that I think you're going to love and you're going to get a lot of value out of. We're not necessarily talking like specific tactics or specific pitch advice or sales advice or marketing advice. It's really more around how do you approach your creative pursuits? How do you approach your day-to-day? And how do you continue to build things without selling your soul? That's what this episode's all about. It's my appearance on the Read Between the Lines show. Please make sure you subscribe to Devin's show directly. Again, we're going to put the links in the show notes. You can grab the YouTube episode. You can also grab his podcast feed directly. So make sure you hit up Devin, tell him you like this show, and subscribe to the episode. All right, let's dive into my appearance on the Read Between the Lines podcast as a bonus episode this week on the Goat to Market show. Small companies don't do big shit. And yet here we are, a small company, and we just pulled off some big fucking shit.
You were like, yo, I have to do a live performance. So we're going to have you perform a song right now.
One of the other things that I think people really get wrong, which is they do not give their audience enough credit to be able to connect the dots.
Yeah.
And this is where you get people over explaining what their product can do.
This is Read Between the Lines, the show for people who want to achieve phenomenal results. I'm Devin Reed, and I'm on a mission to build a bigger and more inspired career as a marketer, creator, and entrepreneur. So I'm traveling America for candid, street-level conversations about creativity, marketing, and playing by your own rules. You'll hear the stories behind the success, unfiltered conversations, vulnerable moments, and practical advice to help you grow your career, confidence, and income. Welcome back. For those following along, this is episode lucky number 7. We're now in the back half of season 1, and it has been good. Real good. I'm still in Chicago interviewing the most creative marketers and entrepreneurs in the city on the basketball court at 167 Green. And last episode, I alluded that after we recorded, there might have been an impromptu game of one-on-one. That rumor that I started is true. Today's guest challenged me to one-on-one, and he did not win. Not even close. It was fun, though, winning so decidedly, and I promised him a rematch next time we hang out. This opponent and today's guest is Rajiv Nathan, aka RajNATION. He's the founder and chief pitch artist at Startup Hype Man, where, in his words, he helps founders and revenue leaders create pitches that go from confused looks to cashed checks. Damn, that is a good line. He's also a hip-hop artist, podcast host, WWE superfan, and as if that wasn't enough, he's also an MMA announcer in his hometown of Chicago and across the Midwest. Put simply, nobody does it like Raj. And that's exactly why I invited him on the show. I met Raj a few years ago when he invited me onto his podcast, The Startup Hype Man. I was first getting my start in marketing, and it was incredibly validating getting invited because I was so new to marketing and I was still insecure about my abilities, if I was even going to make it, and if this was the right career choice. So it really meant a lot to get invited onto the show to share my expertise at a point where I felt like I wasn't really much of an expert. And that's a theme you're going to hear in this episode: the unexpected impact that encouragement has on your confidence, output, and potential. In today's conversation with Raj Nation, you'll hear how to tell stories that help you stand out, not as the best, but as the only. Plus, advice for building your confidence so you can have more joy in what you do and not just realize, but live out your potential. And you'll hear why and how Raj made a huge creative bet and the impact that it had on his brand and business. Today's episode is all about doing things differently. And I know for a fact that this conversation won't be like anything you've seen before, because there's a surprise towards the end of our conversation and it's impossible to miss. Are you ready? Let's go hang with Raj. What's up, man? Thanks for being here.
Welcome to my city.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. When I was putting this together, I was like, who do I know in the city that is creative and attractive and really cool? And you didn't make that list, but when I said, I'm kidding, man. But so, I mean, I want to start with your style, right? Because we met a few years ago and you've always stood out. And as I'm doing research, I'm just getting reacquainted with you digitally. And I'm like, from the haircut on your profile picture and the pose you're making to the language on your website, you do things differently. And then you look at what you do in your career and every day. You're a founder, you're a chief pitch artist and officer, if I may say both. You're an MMA announcer, you're a rapperpreneur, however you pronounce that. You have a full-length album, right? So you do all these different things, but I want to start with like, where did your style come from?
This is a pretty good starter question. Thank you. So compliments to the host here.
Do my best.
I feel like it's been an evolution over time and like getting more and more comfortable with being myself. And I think that's always been something that's been important to me, is like the ability to be myself. But it takes a process and like a journey to, like, you can have it as a value, but then to actually live the value takes time. And a lot of that comes through getting more in touch, I think, like with your own why. And so for me, like, whether it is the content I create, business I run, doing the MMA stuff, making the music videos, making the music, the clothing, whatever, right?
Yeah.
I think it is ultimately a reflection of my why. And my why, like the reason I think I'm on the earth, I'm pretty convinced, is to create more expression in the world.
Interesting.
And help others be more expressive, but in that pursuit, be like as expressive as I can possibly be myself as well. Not in like a hokey way, but in a way that feels natural and authentic. So how does that then manifest? Well, I think if I care deeply about expression, I want to do that in the most authentic way possible that I can. So it doesn't feel right for me to come onto your show and wear like a suit. Now, I'm not saying
shocked. If you showed up in a suit, I would have thought there's like a gag going on. Like there's some joke happening that I'm unaware of.
But it's not like, if I get invited to a wedding, I'm wearing a suit for that. It's not like I'm like, oh no, I have to be me 100% of the time. No, but I think that ability to like know how to show, how you want to show up in different places is almost like a learned skill. And I think now I'm at the point where, like, I'll tell you, like, the shirt I'm wearing right now.
It's very nice, by the way.
Right. It says GOAT. It's got this championship belt like printed onto the shirt, like it's hanging over my shoulder. And actually, sometimes when I wear this, people think I'm actually like have a belt on my shoulder, like a real belt. I was looking to WWE's shop.com, being like, they must have a shirt that has this.
Yeah.
And they didn't. And And I was like, I want a shirt that has that. So what I did, just made my own.
Yeah.
So like, I think that's like the level that I'm at now, is like, if it doesn't exist, I'm just gonna make it. And that's almost like I probably like a harbinger for how I kind of approach everything.
Yeah.
If it doesn't exist, and I think it should exist, I'm gonna create it or figure out a way to make it happen.
I like that. I was thinking about it too, because I think there's so much, people want attention for the sake of attention, and so they reach. They do things for the sake of, like, it's not true to who they are, but they know it'll get a reaction or hope it'll get a reaction. And when I think of you and all the things you've done as I've known you for like the last 5-ish years, I've honestly never gotten that feel where I'm like, oh man, he's just kind of he's reaching, or that feels kind of corny. You never have that. And so my hunch was that you're deeply convicted about something, because you have to have a true belief, which you said is like helping the world be more expressive, right? And so I respect that a lot. And that's like why I really wanted you on the show to talk about that, because I think it's inspiring. Even if you say like, I'm not doing it to inspire people, just the way you operate can inspire people to be more creative, to take risks, and to bet on themselves, which is something I think you've done literally every year since I've known you. Like, you're doing something your own way.
I definitely have a lot of conviction, so thank you for recognizing that. I think the inspiration piece is funny because years ago, I kind of like said to myself, maybe I was talking to a friend, I was like, there's so many people who do like quote unquote inspirational content, but the only thing they've ever done is just talk about inspirational content.
Yeah.
And that bothers me so much because what have you done? Like, you're telling people to get out of their whatever bad life situation. Yeah.
You're in your own way.
And you haven't done anything remarkable yourself. You've just been telling people that message enough times over. And that never like vibed with me. I was like, I want to do something that feels important, at least to me, and has like some material worth to other people.
Yeah.
And okay, if there's a byproduct of inspiration of that, great. But I don't necessarily, and trust me, like, I've got ideas on how I could be directly an inspirational, like motivational person. And I've done, I did like a TED talk, 12 years ago. Like, that was largely a motivational kind of speech.
Yeah.
But that's not like my thing. Is I'm the guy who you come to because he's going to tell you how to live a better life. It's more like, well, let me do my thing.
Right.
And I guess if there's a byproduct of that, which is someone's like, oh, I like that, I'm taking some inspiration or motivation from that, great.
Yeah. No, it's a good point, because there's kind of like, I mean, I'm sure someone's written more about inspiration, but there's the kind of almost like prescriptive approach that we're talking about, which is, in my personal experience, like kind of trite a lot of times, where it's almost like, I'm joking about it, but it's like, you're the only thing in your way, or like life is easy, you just need to do these, wake up early and make your bed. And it's like, that feels like bullshit to me. But what really inspires me is when I just see people living out their dream, or really just living out like their passion and their conviction, no matter what it is, right? Whether you're, I don't know, building muscle cars or making rap albums, as in the B2B tech space. Sure. I see stuff like that, especially because I know you, and I'm like, oh, that's cool for you. And I respect that. And it also just kind of instills in me, again, I think as like a byproduct, and maybe one that's not intentional for you, is like, man, I could take a risk on myself. Like Raj is doing, like maybe I should do it too. And like, help like stuff like the show or making merch or any of that own stuff. So I think personally, that's the, I don't know, maybe the more highbrow way of being inspirational, is just like living out that conviction and kind of setting a path for other people and letting them observe and then follow your journey, and then hopefully sparking them to launch their own journey.
It's funny because I think that sentiment is pretty mutual, because there's plenty of stuff that you do that I don't necessarily text you and be like, hey, this is inspiring me, but like I see it and I'm like, I like where that's going. Thanks, I want to keep following that, and that gave me this idea too. So yeah, I'm with you on that. It's, you can shout in people's faces and be like, and I don't know, this whole morning routine thing I think is such crap. So it's funny.
I don't understand how waking up at 4 a.m. is gonna make you a millionaire.
And it's funny. I was listening to like Trevor Noah interview Mark Cuban, and he asked him a morning routine question. Cuban's like, I wake up at like 7. I do emails in bed for an hour, then I work out, and I start my day around 10. And he's like, what?
He's also a billionaire. He's already made it. Like, what are you gonna learn from him? He's not on the right. And that's the thing too that's interesting, is taking advice from people who've already made it versus people who are just one step ahead of you.
Yeah.
And I think you can learn a lot more from people who are still on the come up and maybe 1 or 2 steps ahead than the billionaires of the world. Like, I have very little in common with Mark Cuban, except we both like basketball.
Yeah.
Except he owns the team and I watch it at my house. You know what I mean? So it's like, I agree. It's like, how much value are you really getting? And I feel like it's almost not even inspirational. It's like phony aspirational that you'll get to that level.
There's a lot of value in the one step ahead, with the caveat that that person has to truly be one step ahead and have something have a life lesson that is worth sharing. And the reason I bring that up is because like 9-10 years ago, I was featured in someone wrote an ebook who was like following my content. This is when I was still running my first business, and they wrote a book on morning routines. Actually, it was called like Win the Day or something like that. And I'm not here to like sandbag the book. It's a fine book, but the book was basically just like interviewing 24 different entrepreneurs, creatives, etc., on their morning routine.
Yeah.
And I did have a pretty disciplined morning routine at that point in life. Like I was waking up actually between 5 and 5:30 every day. I was doing yoga. I was meditating. I was not looking at emails or outside messages until 9 a.m. every day. Now, the one thing I still carry is I, for the most part, do not look at my phone or email until 9 a.m. every day. But I'm in this book giving this advice on how I live my morning. And I've got like $800 in my bank account at that time in my life. Like I have a business that isn't working.
Yeah.
I know it's got like a newsletter following. Great. People seem to eat up the content. But, but like I'm not doing anything of substance. And I'm also not going to turn down that opportunity to be featured in someone's book. But really look at it. Who am I to give anyone advice? I'm doing all these things and I'm not living like a quality life.
I mean, I agree in a way, but think of a person who hasn't launched a newsletter yet, or someone who wants to start their own business. So you might be like, I'm literally a step ahead in that I have an LLC, right? For example, but I haven't, maybe like hit that tipping point of making the amount of money I want. So I think there's value to both. I think though people don't, I almost said read between the lines, but I can't help but saying it. But like, they don't look past the context of like, is this person really a step ahead or 2 steps ahead? And are they really providing the value that I need in this moment versus kind of that dopamine hit of, oh yeah, that's a good idea. Let me hit like and feel better for the moment and not really follow through, you know what I mean? And like believe that advice and put it into action.
I think though, like maybe I was 1 step ahead in having a newsletter and having a business, but I also think those are like false wins, if you will, right? Like you want to celebrate that you like formed an LLC. I mean, it's not that hard to do.
Fair.
So
I wouldn't say throw a party over it, but it's a little.
But plenty of people do, right? They have this like fake launch party, and I don't mean like. There's plenty of business owners who will be like, I started a business, let's celebrate. I'm not saying don't feel good about yourself because it is taking a step.
Yeah.
But then there's nothing that happens after that.
Yeah, for sure.
And it's like, so what are we celebrating? The fact that you made a decision you're going to bail on in like a month. And I think this also bleeds into why like I take an issue with the idea of using social media as a platform to kind of be like, my life is miserable, these things aren't going well for me, et cetera, et cetera. Because I'm just like, talk to a mental health professional for that stuff. Have a close group of friends. Do not use the internet as your platform to complain about, why life is not working. And people will be like, no, but that's being vulnerable. And in my mind, I'm like, that's not vulnerability. Vulnerability is having the maturity to have lived through something and speak about it, knowing what you have learned from it, and speak about that authentically and truthfully. Vulnerability is not being in the middle of the damn thing, not being able to see behind you or see in front of you, and shout out what's going on right now. That's just being a mess, in my opinion.
Yeah, that's a fair point. It's kind of like you're just putting it out. What is it, like airing out your laundry?
Yeah.
And I think too, it's like looking for validation in a bad way, a dangerous way, because I agree. People are like, I'm being vulnerable, but it's like, maybe you can play that card, but in the bigger scheme of things, like what does that do for your reputation?
Have you ever looked up like the Reddit community's LinkedIn lunatics subreddit?
I have, when it was sent to me a couple years ago. I was not featured on it, thank God. But
I don't think I've been on it either.
It was a couple people that I know were on it. Actually, Chris Orlob, who was on episode 1 of the show, I think that's how someone sent it to me. It was like within our Gong circle. And it was funny because someone was lighting them up, but then I read the comments and like, it was pretty 50-50. Like I don't know if you watched episode 1, but like Chris is polarizing, and I say you love him or you love to hate him. And that was basically what was happening in the comments. And so I'm like, I didn't send it to Chris because I'm like, no one needs to read the bad stuff because it's just negative. But I kept flipping through, honestly hoping I was not like post 4 or 5 just to see. I saw some other people that I recognized, but I was grateful that I didn't get roasted on that Reddit, and I have not opened it since because I was like, that's a dangerous game to play, to like go back to this place and like I didn't make tell me I didn't get roasted. But yeah, I've seen those things, man. It's
there's just so much like, I don't know. I just think it's so weird how And it's funny, I never considered this until a friend sent me that subreddit, and I was like, wow, I never realized. Like, if you just zoom out,
There's some weird stuff that
you know,
people
like
write on the internet.
some guys like, oh, I had a board meeting at 9 a.m. today, and I didn't know what my answer was going to be. So what did I do? I woke up at 4:30, and I went for a run in the forest, in the rain, in the dark. I couldn't see in front of me, and then I got to the end, and I was like, the answer has hit me.
Yeah.
So there it is. Go for a run in the pure darkness, and maybe get killed in the process. Like,
Solves everything. Solves
you know,
everything.
like, this is such like, how are people living? And like, no one's gonna tell someone that in real life.
No. Well, it's the broetry, the over dramatization, and that was something too. Erica Snyder has shared this with me, which is like, not everything in your life needs to be an epiphany that goes to the business world and to LinkedIn.
God, yes.
And she's done a good post a couple of times of like, I was out, you know, like I was out, so she sets it up like she's going to go that direction. Like I was out with my kids and, you know, I don't know, there was a tantrum or whatever, you know, something happened. And she's like, at this, and then like midway through the post, she's like, at this point, this is where most people would tell you I had some epiphany and like now everything's better. It's not. Nothing happened. I just picked up the goldfish and we went home. Like, you know what I mean? And so I was like, dude, hat tip to that. Bravo. So yeah, I feel you there. But I'm curious though, like, where did you get maybe like the confidence, or maybe you saw an opportunity to take your style and bring it to B2B and tech, where it is very vanilla and most executives like to play it safe? Like, where did you get that motivation to bring your style there?
So I think that comes back to like, it's like a learned thing over time, but a lot of the confidence aspect comes from just being around the right people. And like, very specifically what I mean by that is in my like early mid 20s, I started to make like an intentional shift in my friend group. And it wasn't something like at the time I didn't initially consciously do it. And then once I like kind of saw what was happening, I was like, oh, I need more of this in my life. Because what I was too blind to see for a very long time was that the friends I was keeping, like not all, but many of them, the basis of our relationship was just like, how can we like rip one another? You know, like who can get the best diss on the other person? And like, that can be cool. You can have that with friends and everything, but only if it's like couched with a layer of support too.
And I think in like in a minimal dosage as well.
Yeah.
It should be like, like you're ribbing somebody, not the foundation of your relationship is like roasting each other.
Yeah. And so, you know, I think then, you know, just kind of accidentally or maybe intentionally, I don't remember, but I started to like be around a couple friends who actually supported my creative endeavors, not like shoot me down for it. Because that's what I had for a long time. You know, like I had years of, you shouldn't rap, that's stupid.
Oh, wow.
And so what did that do for me? If that's like the message I'm hearing a lot, you know, I did like towards the end of college, I did put out a mixtape. It's okay at best in retrospect.
First project.
Yeah, it was my first project, but like, I didn't get like any support from my friends. And not only that, but it wasn't just no support. It was, this is dumb. Like, I'm not going to listen to this kind of thing. So then if that's the message that I'm hearing, when I'm meeting new people, I'm kind of hiding the fact that rapping is a talent of mine. And I say it like that because I'm like, I'm not even telling people, oh, I'm a rapper. I'm like, oh yeah, I can do some rap. I kind of do it on the side. Like, that's the extent to which I feel comfortable saying it.
Right.
Then I start being around people who are like, you rap? That's interesting. Can I hear it? Oh, cool. You know, and then I did like my next project a few years later, and that was met with like a lot of support. And then from there, with that support, what I do, I start performing live for the first time ever, and I started hitting different, you know, local stages. And friends are showing up to that. People are buying tickets, right? These kinds of things. So that just, I think having that right level of support is what enables like myself or any individual to like feel comfortable, again, like in their own skin and doing their thing. And so as we progress forward, I feel like it's just kind of like one thing stacks on another to where your foundation is very strong. Like you get to a point where the foundation, instead of being so close to the ground, is way higher off the ground. And if that's what you feel like at baseline, because you've had enough almost like training of being with the right people, having the right messages reinforced, et cetera, now you kind of feel like you can, I don't know, it doesn't feel like anything that you want to do. And this is how I feel. Like, I only feel like my effort is my limitation. I don't feel like if I want to do something, it's on me. I don't feel like, oh, the world is not like architected in a way that it could work for me. I'm just like, no, if I want to get into that, the limitation is the amount of effort I'm willing to put into it. And that's so much different than probably where I was, and I was never like the world is against me person, but I probably was in the past thinking more of like that's not for me, or like, I could never.
Yeah. Dude, thanks for sharing that. That's cool. I mean, I've experienced somewhat similar things, but to be intentional, one, to be aware of actually, hold on, the people around me don't make me feel good, and this is not healthy. But you also needed to probably get a couple of friends, like you said, that, oh wait, someone did give me positive reinforcement, and wait, hold on, this skill that I've been kind of hiding is actually kind of my superpower in a way. And if I just kind of invest in that more and more, you probably start to feel your confidence compound, right? It's like the more you share it, the more positive reinforcement, the more you want to share it, the more you practice, then the better you get, then the more you want it, like, right? So it's this like cyclical thing.
And the bigger the stage, quote unquote, stage you want to take it to, right?
Yeah.
Like, it starts with a couple people in a living room.
Of course.
And then you build from there, similar to like a stand-up comedian, right? They practice their jokes on their inner circle. Then they do some basement club. Then they do a bigger club. Then they're doing Madison Square Garden all of a sudden.
Yep.
And you see it at Madison Square Garden, but there's so many like levels of the game of Mario that like you have to get through first to get to the final boss, if you will.
Yeah. So you put out your project in college, right? You're starting to do more shows. Where did the aha moment to be like, hold on, the tech community needs to get shaken up a bit, and I'm just the right guy to do it?
So the desire was always there. And to be honest, I actually had the idea for my album like 7-ish years ago. 2017, I think it was, maybe 2018. And there was this competition in Chicago there's like a local free newspaper put out by the Chicago Tribune called the Red Eye. To be honest, I don't actually know if it exists anymore. It was big for like 10 years.
Sure.
It was like,
as most newspapers,
this was like the thing that like you get on the L or the bus, like the stand is right there, and or there's people handing it out. So like it's the thing every commuter is reading.
Sure.
And commuting is kind of down right now, and newspapers are kind of down. So I don't know where the Red Eye stands right now. But they happened to be holding this competition called like the Big Idea competition, and you just had to like submit a creative idea. And so I had this idea. I was like, let me just see. And it literally was like the deadline was the next morning. And so I had this idea in my back of my mind of like, what if I could create like Schoolhouse Rock, but for startups? This idea of like, teaching pitch lessons or whatever through hip hop. And that was the base idea.
That's in a way a very, and hear me out, it's a way a very simple idea, and in another way a very brilliant idea, because it's kind of this perfect crossover effect.
Yeah.
And I love that.
And there is that. And that's what I thought. I was like, oh, you can like kind of combine worlds here, which is what I've been doing naturally for a long time. I combine two different interest groups and I put it into one sort of domain. So, I see that, and I'm like, that night I record 2 songs. Now, actually, none of them were like teaching, because I couldn't in that moment figure out, okay, how do I teach this lesson and put it over a beat and all that stuff?
Well, because I said, and I want to go back, I said it's a simple idea. The idea is fairly simple. This and this, put them together. The execution is what makes it a hit or make it or break it moment. Yeah. And so for you, getting on this, the train and be like, all right, this is the idea, and I'm going to submit it. And then writing 2 songs in full in one night, that's a big task. Yeah.
So I come up with those, and then I submit one of them as part of the
actual
application.
Song, like the recorded song.
Yeah.
All right, cool.
And it's funny because that's a song like I still perform to this day.
Nice.
And it was not a teaching song. It was actually a song in support of female founders, kind of documenting the journey or the hardship of trying to be a woman founder raising capital.
Very cool.
In a man's world. And it got accepted as like a finalist. So 10 or 12 finalists were accepted, and then there was like this big event where you had like it was almost like a mini one-night trade show where like everyone had their display set up, and there was voting. Now I didn't win or anything, but I lost to like a mobile ice cream stand, which like it's a very like tangiable in-person experience.
Also, like the high you get eating ice cream is kind of unmatched by most things except maybe like drugs. You know what I mean? Exactly. So it's like you had stiff competition to go up against. Ice cream's tough.
So I do that. And I'm like, okay, I have a foundation for this, but I just did not have the kind of the time or the capacity to like pull it off. And I'm glad I didn't in that moment to like pull off a full album.
Yeah.
For two reasons. One is I didn't yet have the experience in the game to really create music that would be meaningful and have enough like authenticity behind it.
Yeah.
It would almost be more like me observing something and commenting on it versus me talking about a lived experience or a shared experience.
Yeah.
And that's what, you know, the music I have now, 7-8 years later,
Yep.
is very much that. And like you can kind of feel, even if I'm talking about the life of a tech founder, which I am technically not, I have worked alongside so many of them that I know how they think, and I can be the voice for them.
Yeah.
So the experience is one level. I didn't have it yet. The other was, I'm glad it didn't happen a long time ago, because I actually don't think the Schoolhouse Rock-esque idea plays broadly, in the sense that like it's cute, it's novel, but it's kind of gimmicky. And where do you take it after doing it the first time? And it's, as a result, like incredibly niche. You got to find the person who's going to listen to it is, and let's assume they don't know you already and they're just listening out of like, oh, hey, I'm going to listen to my buddy's thing. You got to find the person who is a startup founder, who likes hip hop, who wants to be educated through hip hop, and specifically wants to be educated about how to run their own business through hip hop.
Yeah.
Right? It is so micro that it's a gimmick that like it's cute the first time you hear it, and then that's kind of it. And so I'm glad it didn't come to fruition then. And over the years, as I kept noodling and marinating on it, and then I had the time and the ability to really execute, what came out was this, you know, this concept album that is not teaching people things. It is telling the stories of the life.
Yeah.
You know, in the same way that, you know, that Biggie talks about slinging crack on the corner.
Yeah.
Right? Rap game, crack game, and startup game, very similar.
Yeah.
But I can talk about this life in the way that Biggie does that, or in the way Pusha T does that, right? Mm-hmm. Or in the way Jay-Z has done that. And it's going to have, and you know, the responses I've gotten are that it is, what's really surprised me is the people who don't know anything about startups who are vibing with it, or tech. Yeah. Right? Like, my brother's a doctor. Now, does he have to say he likes because he's my brother? Sure. But
not necessarily.
But like his what do you call it? Like his colleagues, when they're doing a procedure on a patient and they choose to play music during that, they are the ones suggesting we should play your brother's album.
That's really cool.
You know, so like I'm getting played during during a scoping procedure.
Yeah.
And that I think is cool, right? And that to me is, it's like, okay, I was able to hit on something that if you're part of that world, it's going to mean like 10x to you, and you're going to hit like those, you're going to hit the lyrics that like there's some insider references to.
Yep. If
you're not part of that world, you're still going to be able to be like, okay, I can vibe with this. Like the music sounds good, right? That's what I was like intentional about constructing.
So we're flirting around this project. So it's time we break it down. So in September, you dropped Goat to Market, a full-length hip-hop album in which you rap every bar. You might have some features, I don't know. And maybe in the skit. But I talk about taking big swings, betting on yourself, and believing in yourself that will pay off. And you definitely did that with this project. So I'm curious, like, what motivated you to invest in such a big project?
Well, I think like coming off what we were saying just a minute or so ago, like I just like it was in me, and I felt like it was time. And part of like it was time was I had built Startup Hype Man up to a point where I'm like, okay, if I take a couple hours in the afternoon to record something, I've got enough things in place where I'm not like, oh my God, I'm not at my desk working or getting new clients or whatever, and it's going to be a distraction, right?
Yeah.
It made sense that it was not a distraction, and I saw it as a way that it actually helped fuel the business as a piece of content marketing. Mm-hmm. Now, it works as a standalone asset, but it also works as a piece of content that supports the business, and it makes sense as part of the overall narrative of being Startup Hype Man.
Exactly.
Right? Startup Hype Man cannot be like we said earlier, like can't be walking in a suit and like being like, "Hi, how's it going, Devin? Like, great to see you." Like, I don't know why I sound like the Dave Chappelle being like a white news anchor, but but like, you know, I think I gotta live that. And so knowing I had the talent and the skill, and it had just been like marinating over time, the stars kind of aligned, and I met the right people too. Like, so my creative director on the album is a guy named Pablo Gonzalez, and he runs a content marketing agency called Be the Stage. And so I met him through, I don't even remember what, but I was like, this is the guy who I think can help me bring this to life. And so what he did was help me concept the album. So I'd be like, all right, here's what I'm thinking on for these songs. And he'd kind of come in and be like, okay, well, where do you want the story to go? That kind of thing. And I'd be like I would hit him up and be like, hey, these bars or these bars for the intro of this song. And he'd be like, I like this. And sometimes I'd listen to him. Other times I just needed to hear an outside opinion to go with my own opinion. Right.
Yeah.
And then he's the one who brought in the right producer, and like he kind of acted as like the interface between me and the producer. We all worked collaboratively, but like he'd help like keep the project on track with deadlines and stuff like that. So just, you know, that ability to like do it and not do it like totally alone, I think just really helped the creative process overall. And the whole thing actually took like a year to create.
Wow.
Mainly because like I can't spend every day working. Of course, right? I got a lot of other stuff I got to do too. So like, you know, bits and pieces over time, it took about a year. And that was actually really good because I think the original album was probably only going to be like 5 songs, and then it ended up being 7 because in the time waiting, like in between, I was like, oh, I want to do a song about this.
Yeah.
And so again, I think that you combine this like experience over time plus right resources, right people, and just the right timing, and it made sense to do it and go for it.
Well, it sounds like there's a theme in your story arc, which is your level ups came from when you surrounded yourself with people who inspired you, encouraged you, and kind of like your thought partner, like someone you can bounce ideas off of, right?
Yeah.
So speaking of bouncing ideas off you, I listened to the album in full last night. I'd heard some of it when it first came out, and so
let's go. Give me that source.
Well,
4 or 5
so
mic review.
Here's my first I like to do. So if I have some people, I like to look at their content strategy and I break it down for them, and then they tell me how good or bad I did. For you, I'm gonna guess some of the top artists that might have inspired you.
Sure.
So I'm getting the first person I got was Eminem.
Yes.
There's a spot, I think it's at the end of the first song where the beat drops, you go a cappella, and the rhyme scheme is like Eminem all day in a good way. I'm not saying you bit him or anything. I'm just like, if he didn't listen to Eminem growing up, I'd be shocked. Yeah. Again, we're roughly the same age. We all heard some Eminem growing up. So that was my first one. Then my personal favorite. Now, I don't know if this is annoying or you're going to like it, but my favorite track is the skit. The skit
Pablo's gonna love that. That's Pablo on that.
Okay, so I was like, if there's a feature, it's him. Because are you a voice in the skit though?
It's Pablo and another. I actually don't even know who the other guy is.
Okay, so there was a voice. The first voice I was like is definitely not you. I think the founder, whoever plays the founder. For folks who haven't listened to it yet, the skit is of a founder, maybe like a conference or maybe just talking to some like investors. And he's like, I'm bootstrapping my company, and these investors are trying to get him to take funding. He's like, no, I want to bootstrap it. And they're like, come on, man, just take a little funding. Yeah. And, trying to get him hooked, on the drug, going back to the drug addiction reference there. And so I was like, the first voice of the founder is not you. Mm-hmm. But the second voice, I was like, maybe Raj really put on some voice acting, but I wasn't sure. But what got me at first was he's like, hey man, I'm a founder. And he goes, oh, you're a founder? What'd you find?
Yeah, I think that's so funny. And the response is like, what did I find?
I don't know if it's because I love dad jokes, but I heard that and was literally laughing in my room last night, like by myself. Like, that's so good. And I like that you really, like, it played out of this reluctancy that a lot of founders probably have of, I want to do it myself, I want to maintain control, but there's this temptation and this allure to take funding to grow faster, be more, be well known and whatnot. So that was my second favorite thing. And when I heard that skit, I got Logic vibes. Do you listen to Logic?
No, not really.
Okay, if you
I mean, a little bit, yeah.
He has a lot of good skits that are similar in that they're very dialogue heavy and they're very clever. So I was like, maybe that was one of them.
Well, to be honest, that skit came from Pablo being like, how can I get on the album? And he was like, let me just record a skit and you let me know if you like it and want to use it or not.
I love it.
And
he
came with that, and I was like, holy crap, I'm dying laughing at this. Yes, we have to use it.
That was good, man. And then it leads into the song, is Dry Powder the title? Yeah. So I was like, very well, like, I love a good cohesive album, and I think that's what's also really impressive, and I know I'm bouncing around now, is like, a lot of artists will put together an album that's really more of a mixtape. It's a mash of songs. And it can be a great group of songs, but yours was, when I listened to the whole thing top down, what was really clear to me was that you know this audience very well. The founder audience and the things they're trying to achieve, the temptations, the challenges, the language that they use. And I was like, this guy really works with founders, because there's no way, and I know you are a founder, but I was like, there's not enough experience firsthand that you would be able to create this. Like, this guy really knows his shit. And so then I was like, it got to another level of respect for me, because it wasn't just, not that I thought it was, but it wasn't just a hip hop album. It wasn't just a guy who can and likes to rap. It was, no, this is actually very tied to his brand. He's the startup hype man. When you put that album out, you like should puff your chest like, I am the startup hype man. You're living the brand. And then I also just have deep respect when someone like knows their audience at that level and can just produce content that speaks to their soul. And like, I'm a founder, I'm a newer one, you know, I still have my day job. But I heard a lot of those bars, and I'm like, oh man, that's like, oh, other people are thinking this too, or other people are struggling with it too. So I was really impressed. And I liked it. And yeah, it was cool just to again, we met five-ish years ago. Yeah. And again, to see your trajectory, your company grow, and then to put this album out, I feel like, at least as an outsider, it's a very big milestone for your career and your brand.
I appreciate that. I mean, and it felt good too. Like, I came out of making that, and like, I released it, and I was like, there's honestly nothing I would change about this.
That's good.
The only thing is, I was like, well, now I gotta come back with GTM too, you know?
Yeah.
Like,
oh, you have to.
And what's cool about doing that, doing this is like, and you know, at the very last song on the album, Sincerely Yours, I have that whole like talking spiel at the end of it, and I kind of say in there, I'm like GTM 2 is already in the works, and like I've got like 9 songs in my head for this next album already. And I think now that I've put out this first one, there are no sort of like walls that are put up that I feel like I need to play within. Part of the struggle, and this is one of the things that Pablo, the creative director, helped with, was getting me past this notion of like, there is a story arc to the album, but that doesn't mean that like every song you can only stay within like this time period.
Yeah.
Like, you can have a general arc,
right,
but you can still kind of go back and forth between themes and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And he kind of helped me break past this idea that like it needs to 100% document the exact journey, where it's like, no, song 6, song 5 must be a product market fit based song. No, that's not the point here.
I like that you didn't do that, honestly. Yeah. I think that would have felt almost gimmicky or like trying too hard.
Yeah.
And I also think it would have shown, I mean, not that you care, I'm an armchair expert right now, giving you feedback on your project, but I went into it almost maybe with, now that you've mentioned it, like a preconceived maybe that would be the case, because you could pick what are the top 10 things: funding, product market fit, sales and marketing not getting along, like whatever, you know, and then you just make a song on each thing. And I think it would have limited actually the expertise that you really have, which is, no, in each track, I can bounce in and out, left and right, hit on different points. And then the whole narrative, when you listen to the whole album, that's like, it really comes together. So I'm glad you took that route. Not that, again, you consulted me or need to consult me.
I appreciate that you recognize
I really did recognize that. And that's very
impressive. I think this next album, you know, whenever I get the chance to start putting in work on that, it's going to even take it to the next level, where it, you know, like, if this was me feeling some sense at some point in the process of like, oh no, I need to be following these rules, next time through, there's no thought about I need to follow this rule or that rule.
There's one unspoken rule that I am curious if you had done this intentionally. So I'm like, I'm going into it, and I wonder, is he going to curse? And is he going to, I don't know, have adult topics, which is just the drug references that you make. And it's not even wildly overt, but it is overt, I would say. I was like, ooh, ballsy to like, you know.
I mean, the first word on the album is fuck.
I noticed. I think it's yo, actually. I think it's actually yo.
I guess if you get past like the initial talking of like the pre-intro, right?
And I know this because my favorite word is yo. So I'm listening. I click play and it's like, yo, fuck. So you answered that immediately. Like he's cursing on the album. But I'm curious, did you even think of, I don't know, the safety or acceptance of the language you use, cursing specifically, with this founder / revenue leader audience who, you know, do wear suit and ties and are maybe more buttoned up than the two gentlemen on this show right now?
I didn't think about that because I know I'm making hip hop music at the end of the day. And that's like here's the thing. It's not like I'm writing an ebook, which has its own sort of like probably standards I'd want to follow.
Yeah, sure.
I'm making a rap album. And so it's got to be a rap album.
Yeah.
Not a tech entrepreneur-ish trying to create a rap album. It is a rapper creating a rap album. So that was not like cursing on it. You know, the drug reference, I think the reason why it works is because dry powder is a term used by the VC community to mean.
Is it really?
Yeah. Like the whole thing is like it's like a wink and a nudge.
Is it gunpowder in there? Or
yeah, they mean it like, oh, like we have like a keg of like we need to like light the match and like, we have all this dry powder. We need to light the match so the thing can explode.
Growth.
Exactly.
And you had the dry powder reference as in,
I just flipped it
as in
exactly.
cocaine. I'm assuming.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's why like that's what I'm saying, right? Like if you really are in that game, you'll get that reference right away. If you're not, you're still gonna like you're
so I didn't get it. So when I heard dry powder, I'm like, it's got to be. I mean, a hip hop head. I'm like, that's a drug reference. And so until you just explained it. Now I love it because this is my all-time favorite thing, when you can make a reference for the niche audience and they get it and they go, oh man, that is on point. But if you're not in that inner circle, you don't lose it. You don't lose out. You know, you're not like, I don't get it, and you hit the next track or you go to something else. So that's very well done. I didn't know that. And
that's where like, you know, again, like some of these lyrics, like if you're really paying attention and you know that world, like you'll really get it, right? Like I say, I flip a brick into a Billy. That's a Brexit. Well, we know what a brick is, right, in the drug world. But like, if you take that and you say, I flip a brick into a Billy, if you're running a startup, what do you do when you reach $1 billion valuation? You probably exit.
Yeah. No, it's
and so brick and exit makes a Brexit. I love right. Or like later in that verse, I say, and this is where it comes back to like the idea of the true meaning of dry powder in the VC world. Handle with care when you approach the powder keg. Last one that took a hit left without a leg. Now, powder keg, we just identified, right, a minute ago, but also last one that took a hit left without a leg. That's got like 3 meanings in it. If you think about like if you were to get like really addicted to drugs, and I think about that last scene in Requiem for a Dream where like he does not have a limb, right?
Dark movie, good reference.
So there's that built in there, but also coming back to like the VC dry powder reference, when you take a hit of dry powder, you lose a leg. What's another word for leg? Stake. You lose stake in your business.
Right.
And then on top of that, if you were to stand near a powder keg that exploded, you are likely to lose a limb.
Triple entendre people. I'm from the Bay Area. E40 would be very proud. I love that. That's a bar. That is a bar. I need to go back and listen to it again, which is also good because as I was listening to it last night and I listened to it, I was telling you this morning on my way here, I'm getting more of these references because you do have multi-syllabic rhyme schemes. Yeah, I know that word. And, you know, you have a lot of these double entendres. And so, yeah, I was really impressed with it. So, okay, you actually started it with this was a piece of content marketing for the business, right? So passion aside, artistic aside, I love when someone takes a big bet on any type of content, show like this, hip hop album, even an ebook. I wouldn't say it's the biggest risk, but it is still
it takes effort.
It takes effort. So I'm curious, what were the intended outcomes if you had any, right? And maybe this was like just, you know, confidence booster. Mm-hmm. Maybe it's like, you know, Dev, I wanted to, I don't know, I spent $100,000 on producing. I want to get my money back. I'm curious, what were the outcomes that you were trying to achieve and how have you done so far about 6 months out?
The outcome I had for this was to further the recognition, I guess, or the place that I hold in this industry, or I feel I hold as being the voice and the champion on behalf of the entrepreneurship game.
Love that.
And that's something that I have started to feel for a little while, but I'm like, okay, with this album, like that's where I want people to go with it. And that's where so much of the feedback has been like from different entrepreneurs has been like, that song really got me. You know, like, oh, like that hit differently, that kind of stuff.
Isn't that one of the best pieces of feedback when someone hits you up unsolicited and goes, hey man, listen to this track, and it just hit home? Is that not one of the like most fulfilling moments as a creator? Of course,
man. Like, you know, one of my friends who's a founder, like out in the Bay Area, I had not talked to him in maybe a year and a half. Out of the blue, he calls me to be like, hey, I just listened to your album. If you have 10 minutes, I need to tell you everything that I think about it. And it was just like, he's like, this song, I got these vibes. This song is my favorite. I love what you said here. I remember living the exact experience of this song.
Yeah.
Right? So like that kind of acknowledgement, I think just feels really good. And I'm like, okay, I did something of value here that's really meaningful to people. And I also like, you know, some of like the dovetail of that is, again, I think it stands as pillar content for the company. So it's just kind of like, and you know content better than anyone, it's like you start to build this like ecosystem of stuff that's out there that all kind of funnels back to a main brand or
a world within a world.
Yeah. And that's what this is able to do now. Now, on top of that, like what's been cool is getting booked to like, you know, for a few years now, I've been getting booked to like do a keynote speech, but I'll be like, hey, why don't I rap? I'll come out, rap a song, and we'll get the crowd going, and then we'll do the speech. Now I'm starting to get inquiries and getting booked to just straight up, you know, perform.
Right on, man.
Which is really cool.
And that is the ultimate sign of success for a piece of content.
Yeah.
Is you put something out in the world and they want you to perform it live, talk about it to their team, and it's kind of like it just brings other inbound opportunities to grow the brand, to grow your audience, and like you said, continue to champion that specific audience, that specific demographic. And
it takes a level of like I have to be a little bit sophisticated about it too. And what I mean by that is like, you know, different events, different groups have certain budgets, right? And if I got to decide, do I want to meet that budget or not? And right now I'm in the zone of like, well, I want to perform more, so I don't need to be in the same ego, if you will, of if it's like getting booked to do it just to talk.
Yeah.
So that said, I'm like, okay, so if the budget, if the hard dollar currency budget is lower, let's make up for that by give me the registration list of the event.
Smart.
And now I can build an audience around what I just did on stage. And then it can become revenue down the road, or it helps grow the audience, et cetera, et cetera. And so, and that's, these are the kind of things that like, it wasn't just like, release an album and that's it. It's like, this is part of me now. You know, even like when the album dropped, I created a whole week of events called Hype Week, right? We in 7 weeks, I put together with one team member of mine, I think we did 8 or 9 events across 5 days, culminating in the highlight of which was the album release party. But the whole week was meant to be like celebrating entrepreneurship in the tech ecosystem.
I love that.
And so, you know, we pulled in the right partner for that. And it was just cool to like do this stuff for the community. Obviously my name is on it, so that's great. But like doing that show, the release party, dude, like
I saw the video for that. It looked great.
I mean, if there's like one thing I could tell people is like, do something that just makes you feel like you're on top of the world, like just for a brief moment in time.
Yeah.
It is. I mean, it was so much fun. It was everything I could have imagined and more. And just like the fact that I think validation is getting just about 100 people to pay anywhere between, depending on when they bought, right? Anywhere between $35 and $70 for a ticket to a concert of an artist they don't really know yet.
You know, pay for anything for content is tough these days. Yeah.
So I just think like that's cool to be able, and like who showed up, you know, like 75% of that, you know, aside from like, you know, friends and family, 75% of that room is the tech ecosystem. We have someone from Pittsburgh fly in who's a founder.
Wow.
Like that's cool. And now now there's like momentum to do it again, you know, year over year, do Hype Week and make it bigger and make it different, et cetera. But like when the show ended and we finished the last song, I said, small companies don't do big shit. And yet here we are, a small company, and we just pulled off some big fucking shit.
Good for you, man. I love that. I love that. Well, I know that show probably gave you, that show, that week, and that album had to give you a lot of confidence. So much so that when I was prepping with you, talking like, what do we talk about? We got to talk about the album. You were like, yo, I have to do a live performance. So we're going to have you perform a song right now, live, called The NXT, which is one of probably like my third favorite. And that's saying something because I have my favorites picked out. Like it's up there at the top. I really liked it. So we're going to get the Bluetooth speaker going into the microphone. And I absolutely love how casual you are about this. I would be sweating right now if I had to do a rap, even if you gave me the lyrics like I could hold the lyrics in front of me. So I respect this. I said, Raj, were you like up late last night prepping? No, not at all. Not at all.
You know, I was prepping for the interview, but I wasn't practicing the song.
Well, that's what I mean. All right. Are you ready?
Yeah, let's go.
All right. Let me restart it. Make sure I want it to be proper for you. All right. It's the first ever tiny desk performance. This is a big court performance.
The RBTL tiny desk.
You look loud.
Yeah. I really think I should go on vacation, but recently these VCs sneakily screening me like push notifications. And it's no motivation, I'm going coast to coast just to have doors closing my faces. Cards face up and I'm showing them aces. They say they ready to disrupt, but they so into stasis. These poker faces on the road, but I ain't a joker. The ledger said I'm the chosen son, but y'all are staying fair weather like Roker. Passionate, how's going for broke, sir? I'm on deck, I ain't waiting the hole, sir. I take community and build opportunity with triple-digit words so y'all can have second. I'm like intentional walks. Give me first, give me dirt. Google it and give me earth. Take your B-school connects and read the room, but give me yours. I'm your next case study. Bootstrap. Give me spurs. Still the perfect match for these investors like I'm Whitney Hurd. Tell Musk our crew here to get the payload. In 10 years making more pesos than Bezos. But in a different way though. Haha. They know. The next Sarah Blakely, maybe. At least I spanked the competition on the daily. And Mark Zuckerberg, he can suck a turd. I'ma get my face booked in every single metaverse, and this is not a metaverse. Got Sheryl Sandberg leaning in instead of headaverse. I make the album other founders couldn't get a verse. I get around like you skip a sound and press reverse, and now heard how I get the purse. These days I'm getting private jets and insured planes. Shit, meaning the pizza place driver know me by first name. Curse frame, I've been starting shit since the 3rd grade, and now these deals got me on my heels about to turn face. Really though, I'm trying to make it out my birthplace, first place. And if you asking about our burn rate, call me LeBron of the game. I'm about to lose heat, warming up under pressure, getting hot like a sous vide. So Cavalier, I hit the lake for y'all to cool me. A championship need water to stay buoyed. And our C-suite is too sweet. Born in 1984, our CMO spit new speak. And that's the true speak. On the cover of Wired, Tech Crunch, shit, even see us on Newsweek. Who, me? Nah, we. But my friends find it hard now to speak to me normally. They can't understand the war, and this the beaches of Normandy. Damn, I might as well spend my weekends in quarantine. Call me Cena, you can't see me, but soon there'll be more of me. My family would rather see me hold a steady job, but how? When my mind is already preoccupied on them 6 or 7 ways to make a dollar sign. Do it in my own way every day so I can still call it mine. On Friday nights they order Black Label, argue over dinner plates, and I don't sit with the kids. I'm off thinking about the cap table. Am I just gambling my future like a craps table? The perils of wanting everything like the last bagel. A parable for the truth and not a sad fable. Hey yo, pass the halo. Cause I got angels like I died and went to heaven. Cause I got angels, chances rhyming as my reverend. Cause I got angels, Anaheim and Jim Edmonds. Cause I got angels, yeah, and that's how I get investment on my B2B and D2C and B2B to D2C. The frequency of beast, I get more stripe than Adidas feet. Bias cause you like us, or is it bias of recency? Shut them down like cold calls, delete and never speak to me. The contrast is pretty stark in size. They hating on my skin tone, and they gon' blame it on the market size. It's Halloween when I see them. Look, a shark with thighs. Somebody better hand me the keys like it's a parking ride. Still they want the bottom line. I'm in it giving signs like crop circles, asking did I do that? Yeah, but I'm not Urkel. I blew by how they read me like I got purple. Look at the next Steve Jobs, but I don't stock turtle. Next, so take your guinea pigs and your gerbils. Y'all verbals are lip service and loose checks. Meanwhile, I'm the answer to asking who's next. Like a life of loose sex, send it in a blue text and give me back the red receipt. On my black check it, yo, I'm never getting red receipts. And that's my legacy. So don't mess with me or get the best of me. You best to stay abreast of me. Y'all just the rest of me. So fuck the S&P. I'ma make the whole world buy my NFT. We out for profit, not an NFP. That's how we do it as the NXT. The NXT. The NXT. Yo, fuck the S&P. I'ma make the whole world buy my NFT. We out for profit, not an NFP. That's living life as the NXT.
Bro, can we clap? I don't know. I feel like I gotta clap that dude. That was dope. My hands are a little sweaty. I'm nervous for you, dude. You killed that. I'm very impressed. One, because when you picked the song, I was like, this has no chorus. He's just gonna rap for 5 minutes straight. I think I'm for real. I was like, man, I'm nervous for you, dude. That was dope. Now that I've seen it live, that is my second favorite track. The skit is still my favorite. It's too clever, but dude, very well done. Dude,
appreciate it, man.
I love it.
Thank you for letting this be the stage.
Dude, of course. I'm very impressed. I was impressed when you dropped the album. I'm more impressed seeing you rap it live so casually, and also
you're kind of halfway through. I was like, maybe I should uncross my legs and.
I was like, dude's just going, and I was like, if he makes a mistake, we'll cut, and you can go again. It's all good, and you didn't even stutter.
One take. How about that?
God damn, I'm impressed. I can't even do these shows in one take.
By the way, what's coming out very, very soon from when we're recording this here in March is the NXT remix called "Still the NXT."
Oh man! So Dr. Dre is definitely one of your inspirations. Then I heard.
Yeah,
a couple references.
so Dre influenced M, right? And then
yeah. I love it, man. We got a couple minutes left. I want to get into some storytelling tactics because, not everyone can rap like you, Raj, but we all trying to get to be better storytellers. Sure. So I have a couple questions. I think the first thing is, I like to start with mistakes, and I think everyone knows, especially in marketing, storytelling is important. And I don't think the best advice is to tell people to tell more stories. I think it's to explain how to tell better stories. What is the number one mistake that you see people make when they're trying to tell a compelling story?
So I would say, I don't know if it's the one thing, but there's probably one or two things. In a B2B setting, when you are trying to tell a story to your audience, there is a lot of times a lack of clearly identifying and articulating the problem on their behalf. And this is so crucial because this will set up everything. And everything you have to offer should ladder back up to that core problem you have identified for people. And this actually goes into a little bit why I almost think the term product marketer is a misnomer. And I would make the case that problem marketer should be the title. Because if that person was focused on marketing the problem to the audience,
yep.
You would have people lining up because they'd say, this person understands me. They get me. I feel it. Versus when it's product marketing, and I get there's elements that you have to be tied into the engineering team and all that stuff. But when it's product marketing, there's an overemphasis on telling people what the software can, or whatever telling people what the product can do. And again, I'm not saying that's not necessary, but it's flow of information and where do you emphasize? And I think the more we overemphasize and over-index on being the illuminator or the highlighter of problem for the audience, the better. But that has a second side to it too. And that is, you have to highlight the problem in such a way that, and this is especially, it works, the lines are blurred a little bit in B2C, but in B2B, you have to illuminate the problem in a way where you are not blaming that person for the reason why it exists. And this happens a lot. You will see companies, you'll get cold emails from people saying, your accounting processes are broken. We have this software that can fix it.
I call it finger waggy. Feels like your grandma, your mom, telling you, you're doing it the wrong way. You shouldn't be doing that. When I'm editing content, I say, this feels real finger waggy. It's too direct.
And the idea here is people will respect you. They will admire you. They will start to trust you if you can help them see their own problem. But you have to be able to identify it for them or with them without saying you're the reason this problem exists, right? It's not the whole key is that it's not your fault. It's that these systems have been set up in such a way that is making it harder to do your job.
You've been misguided.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so here's just a very direct way of thinking about that. It's one thing to say, Devin, as a content marketer, you're struggling with making sure your content gets out on time, on deadline, on a repeat basis, week after week after week. You're going to hear that probably. Give me your gut reaction upon hearing
that. I do have that challenge, but again, I start to feel it's unsolicited critical feedback almost. Like you're struggling with this. It's like almost if you got here and be like, hey, those are cool shoes, but it would have been cooler if you picked like this shoe. I'm like, ow. Like no love, no help. Just,
they are cool shoes, by the way.
Thank you. You complimented them earlier off camera, so I had to get the compliment back on camera. But you get the idea. Honestly, it just feels like this poke in the rib. It's just kind of like, ow, that didn't feel helpful. And I don't like you more for pointing that out. The reason I said duh too, though, is kind of like, yeah, like no shit. We all, everyone in my peer group has that problem. You're just pointing out one of the hard parts of my job. So what?
I think I like that you actually led with duh. Like, of course that's an issue, but here's the thing with that. Take everything you said after that, right? It feels like the poke in the rib. When you are accusatory, what it's going to do is, even if that does exist for the person, the reaction they're going to have is, you don't know me. And even if it is a problem, they will rationalize why it's fine it's a problem, or if it could exist, and they'll say, you don't know me, I don't have that problem, even if you do have that problem.
Yeah.
And that,
or you get defensive. If someone accuses you, you naturally get defensive.
Because you don't know them, right?
Yeah.
Like, it's one thing if I've known you for 5-6 years and I was like, hey, Devin, I noticed these things about what you're doing, and I thought you might want to look at it this way instead. And you might take that advice, maybe, because we have a rapport and a relationship. But out of the blue, whether it's an email or whether it's, a website or whatever, wherever the brand is living, assume you don't have years upon years of a close personal relationship. And so there's a difference between what I said before versus saying, hey, Devin, I've been speaking to a lot of content marketers recently, particularly the ones who are doing it as a side hustle. And one of the things they've been telling me is it's really hard, given all the responsibilities and time of their day job, to effectively make sure that in the few hours they have left in the day, that they can get their content out on time, and on deadline, and in a repeat manner week after week.
I feel like you're speaking to my soul now. I'm like nodding. I don't know if the camera. I'm like, yes, that is exactly what I'm having. Like that is the sensor in the back of my head all day, every day.
And I could have thrown in there, not to mention the fact that you have hobbies outside of work, you have a family, etc. Right? So that's something. Now you're nodding your head, and now you're going to be more receptive to whatever the offer or the product or the solution is.
So there's this concept that I'm trying to kind of evangelize, which is if you are in marketing or if you create content, you are in the attention economy. Mm-hmm. And there's 3 things that can happen. You either are winning, losing, or dominating. And if you want to dominate, you need to evoke emotion by focusing on the problem. Because even though you didn't say any specific emotional words or you didn't get too personal, simply by outlining the problem the way that you did, and you did a really good job off the cuff, the emotions inside are already stirring. Like right now, I'm like, and the anxiety is rising, or that like fear of missing a deadline. Anxiety will be, will I get through all the QA? So you don't even have to press too hard. You just have to lead me to that point and let me, get to that level of emotion. Because once someone says, oh, wow, Raj understands the problem, I'm feeling some type of way right now. Now I'm like running, like, yeah, like, Raj, what should I do? And I love the word should, because if someone says the word should to you, they're coming to you with like open hands, like
it's an indicator of like openness and like desire for change. Yeah.
So if someone ever reached out, what should I do? Or, that's something they keep in that frame. Oh, I reach out to Raj to see how I should be a better storyteller, be a better rap artist, like that sort of thing. It really helps position you. And so I like the way that you said, it's like, look, focus on the problem first, because to your point, another thing I tell founders love when I say this, no one gives a shit about your product.
Yeah, it's true.
Not yet. You got to earn that right by focusing on the problem, because all your competitors are more or less the same, and at least in the eyes of your market. And that's what matters. It doesn't matter what you and your head of engineering think.
One of the lines when I do my pitch workshops, one of the lines that I have everyone, I do a call and repeat, where the call and repeat will be is, my product does not mean shit without a compelling story.
Yeah.
And, earlier you said that the emotions, the anxiety, all those things start to stir up without having to necessarily tell you that those are your emotions. Mm-hmm. This is one of the other things that I think people really get wrong, which is they do not give their audience enough credit to be able to connect the dots.
Yep.
And this is where you get people over explaining what their product can do. Like, especially software these days, it's like, once it gets mature, it's like there's 9 million things that it actually can do. And then they're so worried about making sure they say every single thing. But like, you got to give and this is where the more you can tie it to a problem, the more the audience will make the natural, like, they'll close the loop themselves.
Especially in B2B, like they're pretty smart people, pretty savvy people. Like you don't have to spell it out and be so on the nose. You can kind of lead them there.
You know, when Steve Jobs unveiled the original iPhone, I'm sure you've seen that keynote address before, right? The iPhone had like 29 things it probably could do that you could talk about. Yeah. What did he focus on? Revolutionary internet browser, brand new iPod, and a phone. And he just focused on those 3 things as the highlight. And then later on, he got into like, you can check stocks if you want.
Yeah.
He didn't also say, well, here's a notes app if you want to take notes. Here's this thing, here's the weather app, and here's where Apple will have their own little tile in here. Like, you just focus on the core, knowing that if you have that phone, you'll probably start figuring that stuff out on your own.
Yeah. People are more or less know how to use the internet. Well, man, I can hang out with you all day, and we will hang out later today again. But, dude, want to thank you. Thank you for dropping gems and rhymes on the show and teach us all how to be a better storyteller and how to be more creative, man. Thank you.
Gems and rhymes. That's how we read between the lines.
Guys, nonstop. It's just natural for him. All right. Thanks, man. Appreciate you. All right. Let's recap my conversation with Raj so you leave with 3 takeaways you can put into action to grow your career, brand, and business. First, if you see the opportunity to go big, take it. Raj saw a stage, aka the basketball court, and pushed himself to go for it. This was all his idea, and I loved when he pitched it to me. If he hadn't asked, he would have missed the opportunity. Second, it might sound a little cliche, but build a circle of friends who support your passions and encourage you to take bets on yourself. Don't let negativity surround you and prevent you from seeing your worth. Third, just like Raj's GOAT album, look for opportunities to take bets in your marketing and create something bold and different. You'll have fun, test your creativity, and build an audience of raving fans. I love how Raj is constantly looking for ways to be creative and bet on himself. It left me inspired, and I hope you are too. All right, if you're still listening, you must really crave growth, and I respect that. And you don't have to wait until next week's episode for more marketing advice. There are 3 ways I can help you scale your content right now. Every Saturday morning, I publish a newsletter where you'll get content tips and strategies for growing your career, brand, and business. Subscribe now to join thousands of readers. Just tap the link in the show notes. My ebook, Content That Converts, shows you how to confidently grow your reach and audience. This expansive digital playbook, packed with tips, techniques, and examples, reveals the exact strategies and step-by-step processes for converting attention into audience growth and sales. To buy your copy, hit the link in the show notes. You're seeing a pattern. And if you'd like to sponsor this show or partner with The Reader, email me at yo@thereader.co. Yes, that's yo@thereader.co. That's a wrap for now. And if you like the show, go ahead and give us that 5-star rating on Apple. It helps us grow.